literally want to say something so bad, but I feel like there's no words that's coming out of my mouth. And I know that we have seen images like this before. But I think for me, watching that video right now is just like, I want to get the emotion out of that I just had from watching that video. I don't even know what I could say, but I want people to know that man's name. I want people to know Ahmad Arbry, that he lost his life, like, for no reason at all. And I want anybody that think about hating somebody to understand. I'm so sorry I'm crying right now, but anybody that's hating people is not worth it. It's not worth it. We got one life. Not only the person's life that you're taking, but your life. What hate, what all that stuff does to you, that's not what God wants for nobody. And it pains me that people can lose, humanity can lose itself in hatred. In hatred. We all see it. We all got eyes. We all know what's happening. And, my mom always say there's not any easy fixes or any easy answers. And I always try to look at the bright side, because just as much bad there is, I know there's also good. So I try to be positive, and I try to focus on the positive. And, because I think it's important where your mind is. You can't focus on the negative all the time. But when I seen this, I just had to share it. And I'm sorry if it was something that you didn't want to see. But I think when we are in the midst of trying to be positive and trying to not be overwhelmed by the things that aren't in our control, sometimes maybe we just have a moment of silence, or even a prayer or something to just say, God, please, because it's too much. It's too much for the people that are enduring it. It's too much for the people that are extensions of what's been done. It's too much for the people that have to see it. It's too much for our world. It's too much for everything. Sometimes it's just too much. And sometimes I just have to say, and I'm not trying to burden anybody. I know there's a lot of stuff going on, and I unfortunately understand that there's a lot of horror happening in the world. So much. Sometimes I get overwhelmed. But today, when I just seen that, I just had to say something. I had to release it, probably, because I feel like there's so much going on right now that we aren't in control of, that we never been in control of. Anybody that also feels that it's too much, anybody that also feels overwhelming grief for things that they can't control, you're not alone. And while we are trying to be positive, and while we're trying to hold our heads high, and while we're social distancing, and while we're trying to turn the other cheek, sometimes it feels like no matter how much you give, or no matter what you put out there, it's never going to be enough, because there's so much healing that needs to be done. But you know what? I feel you. And, that's the only solace that I can give myself when I am, when certain realities I have to be faced with. We just have to keep swimming, in the words of Nemo. God bless y'all.